Hello class. Today's lesson we are going to look at DC Universe Classics Wave 11 figure number 4 Cyborg Superman. Have a look at the package first, like always. Well, not always, but a lot of the time we'll open him up. Again, 4+. I guess I can open this thing up without choking on something and dying. He comes with the head and lower torso of Kilowog, who we have a look of there. And again, a quick look at the back, because we've seen this probably a few times already if you've seen any of the other videos. There is Katmatui, Shark, Deadman, Cyborg Superman, of course, The Question, and our friend John Stewart. In the middle we've got Steppenwolf, and then we can put all these dudes together, or all the pieces of Kilowog together that come with these other dudes to build Kilowog. Now, we've got the bio for Cyborg Superman. He was Hank Henshaw, got into a radiation accident, turned into pure energy, and then used a Kryptonian birthing matrix to turn himself into a cyborg, and he hates Superman. Yeah, I know, that's really the Coles Notes version, but I'm not going to go too much further into it. And his statistics, he was first showed up in Adventures of Superman in 1990, so he's not that old, really. Hank Henshaw. His occupation is mass murderer. Seriously, can you find that on one of the job posting sites? Like, that's his occupation, mass murderer, okay. Like, he gets paid for it or something. Special abilities, he can control electronics, create new bodies for himself out of machinery, he's invulnerable, and able to create and manipulate objects with 5 Sinestro core rings, which, when we look closer, we'll see them. You can see them on there a little bit. He has 5 rings. Now, did Sinestro just say, hey dude, want some Sinestro core rings, or did he kill 5 yellow lanterns to get it? I'm not too sure. I'm sure if I looked on Wikipedia I could find out, but I'm not going to right now. At any rate, that is a look at Cyborg Superman in the package. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get my trusty knife, I'm going to butcher the packaging, and we're going to have a closer look at Cyborg Superman. Back in a minute. So we've got Cyborg Superman out of his package. We can have a closer look at him now. Just do a quick kind of 360s, get a quick view of what this figure looks like. And we're done. Now, let's see, what do we want to talk about this figure? Well, first of all, it's not the classic look for Cyborg Superman. Originally, Cyborg Superman looked like, you know, Superman, but with metal bits on him. And obviously, they've changed that. They've kept some of the, we'll say, style with the color scheme, in that he's got the red briefs on top of his pants. He's got the black pants, red boots. We've got some of the red there. Now, when we get up into his chest and torso, it changes. The red extending all the way down his arms. And if we see down this way, we can see where the Sinestro core emblem is. And, of course, in terms of color, all of his metal parts are going to be silver, which seems to be common. I don't know why dudes can't have metal parts that look kind of bronzed or cobalt or something. That's always that bright silver color. I don't know. Anyways, it's just me. His cape is red. Now we've got that Sinestro core emblem here on the back. And he does have a little bit of fleshy color. He's got some flesh color on his hand and what's left of his face and his one ear there. And we've got black hair. And I don't know how well we can see it there, but his eyes are red. In terms of the mold, well, you know what? I think that's probably what we would expect from the DC Classics figures, so it's all well done in terms of his legs and his chest. Most of it I think is going to be pretty standard. I'm actually kind of wondering if it's more or less the same mold for a lot of things. But maybe we'll look at that more later. The real differences here is, of course, in his cybernetic parts. So he's got the rib cage here, some kind of, I don't know what this is, chest plate bit that, you know, we don't want to obscure the Sinestro core emblem. His shoulder, we've got some extra parts here, this bit here, which is actually kind of annoying. And then furthermore on his arm, forearm, and his hand. Now, one thing I like to look at with just his hand, if we put it there, is he's got the yellow lantern rings, or the Sinestro core rings. Still don't know how he got them. Now, I think the package said he had 5, but I can only find 4. I think he's missing one maybe for his thumb. Anyone who read the comic book, I'm sure can and probably will correct me. I don't know. But that's okay. It's still cool that he has them. I know, again, some people didn't like the fact that they used the Sinestro core war look for this figure. They wanted more of the classic, but I still think it's kind of cool. Now his cape, which we'll talk about, it's that hard kind of plastic, which is kind of a double-edged sword. It's good because it will help him stand up, but it's bad because it doesn't move at all. I think these started off with Spawn figures, didn't they? The kind of molded plastic cape. Not sure. But in terms of the rest of the color, we can see that they at least were nice enough to paint the back of him the appropriate colors that are on his front. Now, in terms of articulation, his head moves up and down a little bit, and it does do the full 360, which is nice. And I guess if he's part robot, he can probably get away with that. His shoulders are going to have that joint here. We can move up, and they can go forwards and back. Now, the only thing is, because of the cape, he can only go so far without kind of pushing on the cape, and it's going to be difficult. Same thing with as far as it can go up. This shoulder, the problem is even worse. We can go this way, but this little bump here up top, combined with his cape, makes it a little bit more difficult. Probably just going to break it if I do that, to lift his arm. We've got the rotation at the bicep, we've got the bend at the elbow, and we've got his hand rotates at the wrist. For his torso, we can bend him forward a little bit, and we can also go backwards, make it look like he's flying or something. And the waist is going to rotate full 360. Now the hips. Now, for me, this is kind of one of the big differences between the Marvel versus DC figures. I tend to buy more Marvel figures, so we can have a quick look here. We can see this goes forward and back, and oh, it goes up sideways. It's not on a ball joint, which is what I'm used to. I haven't decided which I think is better, but I got plenty of time to make up my mind on that. He's got the rotation at the thigh, the knee bends one joint, and the ankle goes forwards and back, and it goes to the side a little bit. And I think that's on purpose, but I'm not 100% sure. So that's our articulation for Cyborg Superman. I think that's more or less standard for most figures. He's not too bad. We're going to take now a look at something else. Whoa, see? The cape helps him stand up. Now, he doesn't have any accessories for himself, but he does come with a couple pieces of Kilowog. And the first one we'll show here is the lower torso, it's called, but I just call it the crotch. Of Kilowog. I guess we're going to need that later. And more importantly, his head. That is awesome. He just looks all mean and pissed off. And if we hold it here, in front of our Cyborg Superman, we can kind of have a Cyborg Kilowog Superman. Yeah, okay, whatever. Or maybe we can have Cyborg Superman holding the head of Kilowog after... Okay, that doesn't work too well. It'd be nice if actually you could have a peg and have it sit in there. But anyways, we'll look more at this later. So Cyborg Superman, I'm just about finished with him. You know what, it's a pretty good figure. If I was going to give this a grade, I'd give this a grade of, you know what, a B. Solid B, he's pretty good. Not one of my favorite characters out there, but still, it's a pretty good figure. I love the amount of detail, and he does look kind of badass. So, I think that just about wraps us up. Class dismissed, and have a good night.